You're watching Rogers TV. This program is brought to you by Rogers Xfinity, connecting you to more of what you love. Visit Rogers.com for more details. The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers Cable or Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode. Happy spring, happy summer. I'm sure the kids are gearing up for end of school. People are opening their pools. It is just the best time of year. All the Rib Fest happening with all the municipalities and the Rotary clubs. Just so much fun over the next few weeks with the amazing kickoff to summer. Now, it is time for the USL event update. Of course, these are just 3 events, but you can always check out more events on the community calendars of Durham Region or your municipalities ones. So many events are happening, but here is just a few. So first we have the Springtide Music Festival, which is hitting downtown Uxbridge June 12th to 14th. There are over 60 Canadian acts performing in the show in downtown Uxbridge. Tickets are anywhere from $20 to $90. There is different genres, a wide, diverse kind of music talents. There's something for everyone to enjoy, whether you like country or rock or indie or pop. There is something for everyone to enjoy, and it will hopefully, the weather will be beautiful for this, so people can get out and enjoy some live music at downtown Uxbridge. The headliners for this event are the Reuben Hand Bullhorn Singers. I've never heard of them before, but people seem to be super excited about that. So that is coming to downtown Uxbridge June 12th to 14th. Then Concerts in the Park is back in Scugog starting June 18th with Backstage Pass Band. I used to work at the town of Whitby and did the Concerts in the Park, music in the parks there. Backstage Pass Band is amazing. They are such an awesome band, so you should definitely go check them out. Again, this is a free event every Wednesday and Thursday in Palmer Park from 6:30 to 7:30. Bring your lawn chair and come enjoy some music at the water. Again, that is the Concerts in the Park in Scugog, and most municipalities do kind of a concert, live music in the parks. Just check out your municipality's website to see if you have any live music near you. The Northern Ramblers Car Show at Scugog Shores Museum is calling all car enthusiasts for their annual All-American Motor Car Show and Swap Meet. You can check out all the different cars they have to offer. You can tour the show field and the museum village. There's kids activities, barbecue, history and heritage, and more. Again, this is at the Scugog Shores Museum, which is 1620 Island Road in Port Perry. This is on June 21st from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m. Again, so many amazing events coming up. Summer is just the best time for events, and you can always check out, as I said, check out your community calendars or Rogers TV with the event board to find events near you for your family, date night, whatever you're feeling. There's something for everyone always to enjoy. Now into today's guests, we have Haley and Emily from Uxbridge Scugog Animal Control talking about warmer weather and wildlife and their events. If you have any questions about any wildlife, give them a call. Then we have Constable Chris Namerthy from Durham Regional Police about drinking and driving and how people kind of aren't still getting the message, and they've seen an increase, and how we talk about how in the summer with patios and backyard parties and pool parties, people are going to be obviously drinking more, which will affect the roads. And for the last guest, we have Dr. V2 Bond about his book 12 Dragons and Elephants, which is an awesome story. He gave me a copy, which I am very excited to read. I'm not the biggest book person, but stay tuned for his story. It is just incredible. It's kind of about his memoir, but all about kindness and love, and it's kind of about being here in Uxbridge. So really cool story. Check it out, 12 Elephants and Dragons, but he will talk about his whole story later on in the show. Again, I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Uxbridge Scugog Life. We'll be back after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Are you the type who would keep going or stop? It's not easy to stop when you have an addiction. Legalizing cannabis won't stop addiction. It trivializes its consumption. Let's be vigilant. If you need help, visit portage.ca.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life, and for this segment, I am joined with Emily and Haley from the Uxbridge Scugog Animal Control. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having us back.
So, with the warm weather coming up, wildlife, babies are on the way, and also with the warm weather, some awesome events coming up. So, this episode today is a lot about warm weather, summer, so super fun. So, first to talk off a little bit about wildlife and all the babies on the way, what's some kind of advice?
Yeah, so we've started getting calls about finding babies, kind of orphan babies.
Yep.
So everything is kind of hatching and having their babies. So a lot of people have been calling and wondering kind of what to do.
Yeah.
So we work really closely with Shades of Hope. It's a wildlife center or rehab in Pefferlaw. So they have a lot of great advice, but we are asking residents if they are finding baby animals. A lot of them can be left alone. So we ask them if they're not sure to give us a call at the shelter, and we can kind of go from there just with the knowledge that we have, or call Shades of Hope directly to ask. We also aid in transporting to Shades of Hope if that's something that they can't do.
And what are some of the animals that people are
So we're seeing a lot of goslings, and a lot of the time, so like baby geese, Canada geese, And a cool thing about them is if you do find a baby that isn't with a mom for a period of time, we do like people to leave them to see if their moms come back, but in certain instances they don't. It's cool with them is you can find another family of geese and actually reunite that baby with that family. So that's something that we do.
Do you guys do that too?
Yeah, we can if people need some help.
Cool.
Yeah, and then baby squirrels are and
baby bunnies.
Baby bunnies.
Calls about too.
There's bunnies in my backyard.
So it's good to leave them. The moms only come around dawn and dusk.
Okay.
So a lot of people will be like, oh, there's a nest, the mom's not around. Realistically, the mom doesn't really want you there, so she won't come back unless you're gone, and dawn and dusk is when she feeds. So
But if people have any questions or anything, they can reach out to
give us a call for sure, and Shades of Hope as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now you have some awesome events coming up to kind of fundraise and all the different things. So do you want to kind of talk a little bit about the one about the shore? I think it was.
Yeah, so Roar by the Shore is a car show that happens downtown Port Perry. It's June 22nd. I think it's 8 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. They just invite lots of different places to set up booths. So we'll have a booth there with maybe some fun little posters. We'll have a binder full of all of our adoptable animals, and it's just kind of just for us to hang out with the community, and if people have questions, they can come ask us, and it's just a fun day to hang out, as long as the weather's nice.
And you said it was a car show?
Yeah, it's a car show, awesome. So all the classic cars are there. It's really fun.
Animals and cars. So
come on. We're also doing the, so next Saturday, the 31st, at the fairgrounds, they're doing the Agriculture Safety Day. So that's a Durham Region event, and we are there. We'll have a booth, and we'll be talking about wildlife safety again, kind of teaching the kids like what to do if you find wildlife. And we'll be touching on a little bit of like dog behavior as well. So that'll be fun. And
then you also have your calendar campaign going on.
So it's the Super Pet Calendar. So right now we're at the stages where people can submit their pictures of their own pets, and those have to be submitted by September this year. And once we get all of those, then we vote on the super pets for each month, and they'll be featured in the calendar once it's ready.
Do you guys get to vote for them? Like, is it staff that gets to vote for them?
We do set up, like, so Jessica, one of us, is the kind of leader of it, but there will be like a little bit of a board. So it's not fully us, but it'll be a couple people from the community, and we get together. I've never done it because it's been a couple years since it's been we've had it, but this year we're really excited about it, and I'm sure it'll be hard because they're all cute.
Like every month is a different animal.
So like it'll be like the monthly picture, and then there's a bunch of pictures along the outsides of it.
But everyone who sends a picture gets put in the calendar. It's just the super pet that gets picked is the main picture for each month.
Love it. Now those will be for sale in the future, right?
Will be.
And then what will those funds kind of go towards?
Yeah, they'll go to the animal vet fees as well. We have had a lot of, in 2024, I should say, we had a lot of like medical cases, big medical cases. So that funding really helps with medical costs and everything.
For sure.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a calendar for 2026, the 2026 calendar, there you go. You'll know where to find it. And then you also have your dog adoption event coming up.
Yeah, so unfortunately we were set to do it, I think it was 2 weekends ago, but we didn't have enough applicants. So it is kind of an applicant. We're working with our trainers that we work with all of our shelter dogs, Grassroots Georgina. They're great, Holly's great, and but we unfortunately didn't have enough applicants. So it is kind of like an applicant approved adoption event. We do plan on rescheduling it either June or July. So hopefully with the summer weather, more people will be ready to get a dog.
You'll have more time.
Yeah, exactly. And like some of our dogs do have behavioral issues, minor things, but that's why we have Holly on board to try and help them integrate this dog into their household.
Awesome.
So
so people maybe watching to adopt an animal or a dog, where can they get more info or sign up?
Yeah, we do have an event kind of on our Facebook, a separate event. That's the dog adoption event. And we have all of our dogs' bios on there. Our date, again, is to be determined, but we will post it on there when we know.
Yeah.
It'll be a Saturday in June or July. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Now, what event are you guys most looking forward to, would you say?
I'm excited about the agriculture one.
Sounds
it's all
fun.
kids, so I mean, a lot of kids don't realize like we have all these wildlife animals in our community and
they just
don't know what to do. Exactly.
Pick up some worms.
Yeah. So those are fun. You can play with the worms, but the other animals are so. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to Roar by the Shore. I did it last year and the weather wasn't super great. It was rainy, so it was kind of a bit of a bummer, but it's a lot of fun. I like going to car shows. I've always gone to them. So and I had a lot of fun last year, even though it wasn't a super great turnout, but hopefully this year it'll be nicer weather.
With the weather, outdoor events are always such like a hit or miss. Anyway, so with warm weather, if you have any questions, reach out to Uxbridge Scugog Animal Control. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you for having us.
And we'll see you after the break.
Hello, I'm Jonathan Van Bills, and my next guest is Rosario Greco, a recent judge in the International Hairstyling Competition in Paris. We'll get the entire story behind the person right here on Rogers TV.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and on this segment, we have got Krishnamurthy from Durham Regional Police. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me today.
So with the warm weather coming up, Victoria Day long weekend that just recently passed, and, more outdoor parties, patio, everything, drinking and driving is obviously still a big issue on our roads. So can you kind of talk a little bit about the stats that you've experienced and learned over the last month?
Despite proactive efforts from police and the community, drinking and driving is still a serious issue. Impaired drivers still are a serious threat to our roadways. Just this past weekend, we had 4 impaired arrests within a night shift. More tragic, we had an incident involving an impaired driver that sent 3 people to the hospital, which included 2 children. So it's starting to show that it is a serious matter, and we need not only to address the public, but also those that are hosting parties for the summer, and just to plan ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I think you kind of had a stat. Can you talk a little bit about the last year compared to this year so far?
Yeah. Year to date, we had 265 impaired arrests compared to 262 from last year.
Yeah, so that's like a slight little increase. Why do you think there's an increase?
I don't have the exact answer for that, why there is an increase, but all I could say is I think every individual that is planning to go out for the evening or day for the summer and just to plan ahead. There's a lot of options now and resources where we could use rideshare apps, taxis, transits, just make the right decision.
For sure. Now, obviously, the dangers of drinking and driving should be like very clear, but to some people they aren't getting the message. So, like, what are some of the dangers?
The one danger that I could say to you guys in regards to drinking and driving is not only does it affect the individual that's driving, but it also affects innocent lives.
For sure.
Right? Children, family members. It takes a big injury or an accident to cause this, right? And it's unfortunate where a family could be driving along and there's an impaired driver that makes a decision that ends in a terrible way, and it not only affects the driver at this point, it also affects other family members and individuals.
I don't know the stats, but I feel like in all the news articles I see, it's usually the innocent lives or people in this situation that are the ones that are injured, hospitalized, or even pass away, and the impaired drivers are the ones that walk away unharmed. I think that's like the saddest part to me.
It is, and I can't urge enough for, if you see something, say something, and I want to thank the community as well in regards to calling it in, being proactive within the community. If you do see an impaired driver or suspicious driving, please give us a call, right, 911, and we will do whatever we can to make sure that we keep our roadways safe.
Yeah, and so why do you think that people are kind of like not getting the message?
I cannot speak for every single person, but I can tell you that there are a lot of options before you plan to go have a drink at a bar or go out to a friend's house for the patio season. You just have to plan ahead. And it's a serious matter where other lives are being affected, and we just want to make sure that you think it through before you get behind the wheel.
And as we've been saying, like with the summer season, patios, people having backyard parties, do you see kind of an increase? Obviously around holidays, there's always, but like on Canada Day, any long weekends, do you see an increase around those times?
Well, when the weather gets good, I think more people are out. And there's a lot of stuff happening. There's a lot of festivals happening. There's a lot of things that are happening within the community.
Even just Rib Fest.
Yes,
like
correct.
Anywhere where alcohol is being sold.
Yes,
right?
and that's where we're going to get more motorists on the road, right? And it's, once again, very important, even, for example, if you're hosting a party, right? Just to be responsible, make sure that you have rides for all your parties that are coming to your event, and just think ahead, plan ahead, make sure that they have some sort of ride share or maybe sleep over. Or find taxi. It's just, you're going to have to be a responsible host as well.
For sure. To kind of go off of that. Like backyard parties, people having pool parties, people are opening their pools, and just like making sure that you are not letting your guests, honestly, if you know they've had 6 drinks, like you shouldn't be letting them get in the vehicle and behind the wheel, right? So being a conscious party host, I feel like is really important during the summer. What kinds of summer activities would you say? So we said patio and stuff. What would you say kind of are mostly linked to drinking and driving? Like just going out later? Do you see more like day drinking, like beach, stuff like that? Or is it more still at nighttime?
I think when it comes to drinking and driving, it's any time of the day, that, especially when we work shift. We don't see an increase at night, so we don't see an increase during the day, especially in the summertime. It's throughout the course of our shift. We do still see impaired driving. Doesn't matter what's happening, but usually it does. If there is an event or something like that, that's where I think there might be more increased calls of people leaving an establishment that appears to be intoxicated. But it doesn't matter what day of the it is.
It always happens. Now, just being mindful, and I think also, as you say, planning ahead, like making sure if you're using Uber, Lyft, any of them, like have it downloaded, have your card added into your app already, so you don't have to do all that. Just make it really easy for you. And I also learned about this new one recently. Something about your keys, like 2 people will come meet you somewhere and someone will drive your car with you back. That's a cool new one that I didn't know existed.
That's what I wanted to say, that there are a lot of options, right?
For sure.
So if you're planning to go out, there's taxis, there's transit. Once again, the ride share where people will come and pick up your vehicle for you and take it home.
Yeah.
So there are
So
so
many
many
options,
services,
for
right,
sure.
for you to make sure that you don't make the wrong choices.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me today and talking about this super important topic.
Perfect. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We'll see you after the break.
Every year, dozens of Canadians are killed or seriously injured because they take risks around railway tracks. Talk to your loved ones about rail safety. Visit stoptracktragedies.ca.
This is Rogers TV.
Welcome back to Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and for this segment, I am joined with Dr. V2 Bond, who is the author of a book called Elephants and Dragons. Very excited, so thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
So can you this book is all about your kind of memoir and your story, right?
Yeah, so basically it's a memoir. It's a story about Vietnamese refugees.
Yep.
I was born in Vietnam in the late 60s, and after the war, my parents basically put us on a boat to leave the country because of communism and the restriction that we were put under, and for 5 days and 4 nights in the middle of the ocean.
Wow.
And after that, we were rescued by a cargo ship. It's all explained in the book, by the way. And we were stranded at a desert island in Indonesia called Area, where we spent 9 months with no running water, no sewage, no power.
Wow.
And we were so fortunate to have the people from Uxbridge who rescue us. That's why the book's about having love and kindness. The mission is to help 1 billion people.
Yeah.
So that's why I've been wanting to write it for the longest time. And this finally was released last November.
Exciting.
Yeah.
How was it kind of reliving the things you went through in your youth? Like, was that kind of hard to relive that and write it out, or was it inspirational? How did you kind of
Yeah, that's a good question. I've been, so ever since I left the island in 1980,
Yep.
early 80, I want to write a book about it, this whole book. So it took 45 years to have it come out.
Wow.
And to answer your question, long story short, since I released the book in November, I lost 15 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah. I call it unconscious emotional trauma. I didn't know what I didn't know, right?
Yeah.
So literally the actual start writing the book was March 2020.
Oh, okay.
COVID.
During COVID.
That's when
That
it
was
really
kind of
started to. So that's when. Yeah.
You're like, I got time to do this now.
Exactly.
Cool.
That's where I met Marie, who actually wrote the book, and so I struggled with that weight for that long, for 5 years.
Wow.
So to answer your question, yeah.
Yeah.
Just to relive all the trauma, the goods and the bads and all that.
Yeah.
But the whole message is about giving back and paying it forward.
Yeah. So I know you talked a little bit about it. You're thankful for the Uxbridge people, like the people of Uxbridge, and we're recording in Uxbridge.
Yeah.
How would you say that, like, why is Uxbridge important to you? Because you said you live here now, you're an optometrist as well.
Right.
You practice here. Why is kind of Uxbridge important to you?
Well, it's my first home in Canada, right? And we were only here for a year and a half. There was no job in those days. 3,000 people in Uxbridge. It's like I remember there was cows and farms all over the streets.
Yeah.
Okay, and so 1988 when we left.
Yeah.
And then I realized one day I want to come back. And in 2001 I did. And when I came back, people said, "You're crazy. There's nobody here still."
Yeah.
But I had a calling. I said, "You know what? I want to look up what the word doctor means."
Yeah.
And it's a Latin word. You know what it is?
No, I don't.
Teacher. So I started doing 1 hour exam. Because I had nobody to see.
Yeah.
And now we have 15,000 patients.
In Uxbridge?
In Uxbridge.
Wow.
Because for about 2021, 2011, I say I want to retire now. Because working in a dark room is kind of boring.
Yeah.
But then my buddy said, "You're too early to retire." So I had my eyes closed. In 30 seconds, I see the number 1 billion people. I said, I got it. I want to help 1 billion people.
Wow.
And that's what the book's about. Helping 1 billion people.
Wow.
So why the 12 elephants and a dragon? The title is because I was traveling a lot in Africa, and when I came back from the gift shop, I keep seeing 12 elephants in the gift shop. So they're like calling me.
Ones lined
they're
up?
calling me. Yeah.
Aw.
So okay, I'm gonna buy all 12 elephants.
Yep.
And give them to my friends who are like-minded. We're gonna do this mission.
Wow.
And that's how the title came up. And when I met Marie, to Zoom, didn't know what Zoom was about.
Yeah.
And I will give her my content and my story. She said, never done this before, but the next day she wrote me a one-pager that the little boy in me had turned into a dragon.
Yeah.
Refined the story. I said, Marie, you're hired.
Yeah.
So the book came up.
Yeah.
Okay. So I was going to retire in 2011.
Yeah.
Because of this whole mission thing, I went back to school. Learn about vision.
Yeah.
That we were never taught in school. So the truth. And I tell you, they say, the famous saying goes, truth will set you free. It will piss you off first. I spent 4 years learning the truth about vision.
Wow.
Did you know through your eyes, we can correct your brains? People have traumatic injuries, brain injuries.
Yeah.
Through eyes, we can fix your brain.
Really?
We can recalibrate your brain, you get your life back. So now I can retire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because now you got all this knowledge.
That's right. And all the proceeds from this book, the net proceeds go to charity. We have already donated $3,000 to the hospital.
Wow.
And the rest will go to more charities too.
Yeah. Why was it kind of important for you to have the proceeds from your book go to
When you read
charity?
the book, you'll see that these, I will call them Magnificent Five, the people that really brought us here.
Okay.
And because of their generosity, we're here.
Right.
Right? So that's my whole mission, is about paying it forward, giving back.
Giving it back, for sure.
And my grandfather taught me years ago, he had a pretty good influence in my life.
Yeah.
He said, when you're on purpose for greater goods, the universe will always move mountains for you.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm here. This whole thing's been moving mountains for me.
Yeah.
I have no idea we're going to be into an interview today.
Yeah.
But it came up. Okay.
Yeah. This is such an amazing story. Why have you kind of always wanted to share your story of what you experienced? Did you say like the five Marvel?
I've called them five Magnificent Five. You'll see in the book explain what they did and how they did it.
Yeah.
For example, Doris Mucko, she never had any children, but she always took care of us.
Wow.
And when my parents were living right now, the house, they're still living there. It was her that we got the house. Because we couldn't afford buy a house in those days.
Yeah.
And guess what she did? She offers us $20,000 interest-free deposit to buy the house. And it was because of her. We got the house still.
Wow.
So we worked hard, we got to pay for it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why I want to get the message out to people that, love and kindness, and teach people how to fish, not so much give them the fish, right?
Cool.
So that's the
This
book's
sounds
about.
like such an awesome story. I'm not the biggest book person, but you've wanted
I'll give you a copy.
You've wanted me to read this one.
Actually, I want
sure.
a new generation to read it.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we should all share.
Yep.
And it's the skills of life, not so much the stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
And everyone can use a little bit of kindness.
Absolutely.
It's free.
Yep.
Some people need to be more kind.
That's right.
For
so
sure.
to answer your question about why the book, it's like my favorite author is Wayne Dyer. He said the difference between ambition and mission.
Yeah.
So ambition is something you go after, tangible stuff.
Yeah.
The house, the car, and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Mission is something that won't leave you alone.
Amazing.
That's the book.
That's wonderful. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so excited to read this book. Thank you for watching this week's episode of Uxbridge Scugog Life. I'm your host, Olivia Flanagan, and thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. We'll see you next time.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.